childhood like?
It was great. I loved it. So, you know, we were very much family orientated. So we're always doing things on weekends with the family and with family friends. There's my sister, myself, and my little brother came 7 years later.
Right.
So
a little surprise?
yes, he was a little surprise.
Right.
Right. Who's a lot bigger than me now. So but he's lovely. So he came 7 years after I was born. But yeah, we were always doing things on weekends with other families, you know, picnics and, you know, barbecues or going on holidays. But our holidays were always every 2 to 3 years.
Right.
And they'd be in Europe and we'd go for 3 months.
Right.
So we have a house over there, so we'd stay there. We'll see all our family in Macedonia for a 3-month block.
Wow.
So holidays, we didn't go for like holidays every school holidays, you know, you got 2 weeks. There was never that.
Right.
But yeah, so we'd go on nice big family holidays that lasted 3 months every other year.
Are both of your folks Macedonian?
Yeah, they're both Macedonian. Right. So most of our family is still in Macedonia. So we've got, I think, an auntie here, and that's immediate, that's my dad's sister, and my dad's parents here. Everybody else is basically over there.
So why did your folks come out here?
My grandparents came out here, I guess, for opportunities, greater opportunities for their kids, my dad. So they came out here for that. And then when we were, I think, 5 or 6, my dad and my mum wanted to go back to Macedonia and maybe live there. So we went back there, built a house, stayed there for a while, and my parents went, you know what, Australia is such a better place to bring up children. They have more opportunities in life and everything there. So we flew back here. Right. And we came back.
Can you speak it fluently?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so hot. To Sam, sometimes when you're laying in bed, say, speak Macedonian to me. I would.
You would?
Yeah, for sure. I'm almost tempted to lay down and just picture it right now. So and can Eve speak it as well?
Eve can speak it as well. Eve speaks pretty well. She understands it really well. Right. Every time we go back to Macedonia, she picks up more of it, and she can speak it more, I guess, fluently. Right. When she comes back here, she forgets a bit, but she can still understand it because her my grandparents don't really understand English, so
you've got to speak it. Yeah. Do you and her ever speak it when you're around other people?
Yeah.
Where you're like,
when you're at the shops or like you're somewhere, or you know, I have to tell her off and there's other people around, I'll kind of do it in Macedonian.
That's so good. What about in front? Because Sam wouldn't speak it either.
Well, he's starting to understand what we're saying. I don't know if he hears it so much, so he's starting to understand. So I can't do too much in front of Sam. But he's starting to pick up a few words here and there as well.
Yeah, right.
So yeah.
And what about school? We were talking before we started that I had trouble at school with girls, as you did as well. Yeah,
I did as well. I guess primary school was great. It was fun, but towards the end of primary school, there was always that little bit of bitchiness and everything with the girls. Like I was saying, like I remember there was days where none of the girls would play with me, and they'd tease me because my legs and knees were darker than theirs, so I'd get teased for that, and you know, nobody was allowed to play with me or talk to me, so I'd be by myself, and that was horrible.
It's
it's a huge thing when you're that small.
Oh my God, it is like, so full on.
It's huge. Yeah. Like if somebody was to say to me now, oh, your legs are darker, your knees are really dark, I'd be like, piss off. Yeah. But when you're so small and, you know, that's your world. There's nothing bigger than your school world. That's everything, you know, it just shatters you.
Totally. Yeah. And you do just want to fit in as well, even though now you go, that doesn't matter at all. But back then, you would have wanted your legs to be white, or
like all the other girls.
Yeah. I just remember not understanding either. Like I did physically fit in, and I was extremely average looking, and I just remember going, I don't get it. Am I that? Why are we doing this to each other? You know, and I was also, you know, responsible for it in some way as well. It's kind of like survival of the fittest with girls.
It is. It's like you said, survival of the fittest with girls. It's kind of, you know, whoever can put down the other girl. Yeah. I don't know. It's confusing. Like you said, I do not get it. And that also kind of went into high school. Like I was saying, you know, high school was a nightmare for me as well.
Right. Which is because, though, I said to you, because the older boys would have been into you.
Well, yeah, but I don't understand why, because I wasn't a hottie or anything in high school. Like I had in the beginning, no, in year 10 or 9, my face started to, you know, break out and everything. So I wasn't a hottie. In year 8, probably, you know, clear skin. I felt, you know, that maybe it could have been that because the boys, you know, did wolf whistle at me once, and the girls in the year above heard them and saw it, and then that was it.
And all it takes is something like that too.
That was it. And then I was the girl that they wanted to beat up every lunchtime, but never did. I remember, like, my sister was in the same high school. She'd be like, she'd come up to me sometimes after school and go, Snej, I heard them talking after school. They're coming for you. So just come and find us. We'll be there. So I'd quickly go up to my sister and her friends and kind of hide with them and quickly jump into the car or catch the bus. And it was horrible.
Scary.
Yeah, especially in high school because they start to get more physical. I remember, you know, there were so many girls fighting in high school. So I was like, oh my God, what's going to happen here? And it made high school horrible for me. Sam always talks about all these great times that he had in high school and everything. I was like, I freaking hated it. I hated it. I did have a small group of friends who were absolutely adorable and lovely and I loved. But outside of that, it was just...
vicious.
Yes.
I remember the girls punching on too, and I remember some girls that wanted to fight me as well. I'm like, I don't know how to fight. I can't fight. But you would have to go, all right. But I was like, oh my God.
Oh my God, what's going to happen?
And I remember one night my mum was out and it was my older sister and I at home, and the doorbell rang, and I knew straight away, oh, they're here. They're gonna do something. And I looked through the front window, and they went through stages of blowing up my letterbox.
You're joking?
Yeah, and I'm like, this is my poor mum that has to replace this. Like, this isn't getting to me. And then I opened the door, and I was like, shit,
they went that far.
Yeah, it was awful.
God.
It was really awful for a while.
That's horrible.
And I remember running back into my sister and going, there's girls here that are going to fight me. And I remember her going, put your shoes on. And I remember going, should I put on high heels so I can walk them? She's like, no, just put on your runners. But anyway, we went out there and just spoke to them. And I had no idea. I remember thinking, oh, if I put on high heels, I can
hurt them. Yeah. Just get in there with a heel.
Idiot. But then we spoke, you know, to them and it was okay. But a part of me is thankful I have boys because of that. It still goes on.
Yeah.
You had Eve when you were 24. So were you studying?
25,
25, which you were like, oh, no, I wasn't that young. I'm like, that's pretty young to have a baby. Which I think it's a Perth thing too. It's a country thing and a Perth thing because Carrie Bickmore had a baby about that time and she's like, over there, all my friends had babies and then I moved to Melbourne and everyone's like, oh my God,
even younger than what I was. So I felt like I was, you know, quite old having Eve at 25. I was pregnant at 24. Yeah, 25. So I didn't feel young at all. So I was like, oh, I'm one of the old ones because, you know, we had a friend that had her kids at 19 and, you know, there was 20-year-olds having, you know, it was so I was like one of the old ones.
Yeah, funny.
So, yeah.
And it was about 2 months old that you became when she was about 2-3 months old, you became a single mum.
Well, that's when things started to go downhill with Eve's dad. So... yeah, I was pretty much doing everything on my own. And then when Eve was, how many months old? Let me think. About 8-9 months old. That's when it was kind of officially, I was going to be a single mum. So I'm very lucky that I had my family who really supported me throughout that whole ordeal. So they were very supportive and they helped me out quite a bit. With Eve and showing me how to do things. You know, mum was always there. And Eve is so close with my mum and dad now because of that. So mum is like a second mum to Eve as well, So she'll go to my mum if she, you know, if I tell her off for something or if she feels she can't come to me about something, there's always my mum. So mum, she speaks to my mum often, And they'll go out for little, you know, lunch dates together and they'll sit down and they'll have a chat about everything that's bothering her or everything good that's happening and
It's so like I grew up with a single mum as well and similar, my grandparents were a huge part of our life. But growing up with a single mum and now having my kids, my God, I envy what you did and what my mum went through.
It's a juggling act. It's a huge juggling act, especially when, you know, you have to work. And I decided that I wanted to study again because I didn't do what I wanted to do when I was younger.
Right.
I mean, that comes back to the whole bullying thing. I was in high school too scared to, if I didn't know something in class, I wouldn't dare put up my hand and say, I don't know, can somebody explain it? So I'd just be quiet and just go through not knowing things. And I also didn't do the classes that I wanted because only the nerds did those classes. And I was
Which was
already
science classes, right?
Well, yeah.
Right.
And so I dropped out of all those classes and just did the normal classes enough to finish year 12 and graduate. So I did all them, and like I said, I was too scared to ask the teacher if I didn't know anything in case the kids would make fun of me because I already wasn't that great in class socially with everyone. So so when I had Eve, I was like, no, you know, I want to set a good example for Eve and just show her that it doesn't matter how old you are or what you're doing or what your circumstance is, that, you know, if you want to do something, you just got to put your mind to it and just do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do something. Right. So then I started my degree and I was still working because obviously I had to provide for Eve as well. So it was a lot of late nights.
It's pretty incredible. Do you feel that, like, when you had your baby, though, you're like, fuck yeah, I'm woman, hear me roar, I can do what I want?
I think having Eve gave me a lot of strength, so much strength. It was the reason why I kind of went, you know what, I'm better off on my own. Yeah. Eve will be absolutely fine, you know, in a single parent household. She's not going to be worse off or anything. So that gave me the strength to kind of go, no, you know, this is the best thing for you and this little baby. Yeah. So we did that. Without Eve, I would have, I don't know. She's like my little angel. She gave me so much strength. So you did. And like you said, like, I'm like, no, you know, I've got this little baby here. I need to be an amazing role model for her. I'm going to go do this degree and I'm going to work and I'm going to make it happen. Don't know how, but I'm going to do it. Yeah. So I think the more you take on, without being too excessive, I think you just find a way to do it. Yeah. I don't know if it's a mum thing. You just kind of go, okay, this is what I've got and I got to try and make it work somehow, and this is what I'm going to do. So we made it work. Like I said, without my family, I couldn't have done it. Obviously, you know, it's hard to be working and studying and looking after Eve. So we moved in with my parents. So we were living with them. Mum's like, no, you know, the last thing you need to worry about now is rent and, you know, paying for rent or mortgage and all that kind of stuff. Focus on Eve and your study and getting that done. And after that, that's fine. You can do whatever you want. So yes, we had less space and you're sacrificing, I guess, you know,
bit of your freedom
and your alone time. Being in a European family, there was always, you know, somebody over for dinner or, you know, some sort of chaos happening. But on the flip side of that, Eve grew so much closer with my family, and she's she loves being around, you know, all my nieces and my grandparents, and she really got to feel loved in that environment, you know, and I don't know, she learned different language, and, you know, I didn't, you know, as a mum, you feel guilty when you have to go to work. Yeah. And when you have to study as well. I did feel guilty, but I know that she was okay. Yes. She was okay because mum and dad were there to kind of, when I had to study for an exam, they were there to, you know, tend to her, and, you know, if she wanted to play, they could play. They'll be like, Mummy's just got something that she has to do for school. You come and play with us. So she was always kind of, she didn't go without. Oh God, she didn't. You know, I made sure that she was still happy and okay, and I could still do this stuff. So
because you hadn't had a day or a night away from Eve for her whole life. No, until she was what, 11? No.
How old was she? 10, 11? Yeah, 10, 11. When the show.
When you went on the show, 10, on The Bachelor.
9, 10. Yeah.
So you not even, like, you've had hours apart from each other, and then you go for 3 months.
Yeah.
Holy
shit.
I'd
never been away, like, on a girls' trip or like a girls' weekend or anything like that. Right. Before the show. And
why was that? Because I, like, ship my kids off every second day. I guess because you were living with your folks, so. But my parents live around the corner, and I'm like, all right, which one are you having this week?
Yeah.
And that was from, like, birth. I'm like, oh fuck, I need them gone. Were you just like, I just want to be with her all the time?
I just didn't want I don't know. I also didn't want to go anywhere. There was nowhere that I really wanted to go with. I just wanted to be with her. Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know. I think us being alone together for so long, we kind of just, I don't know, I got really attached to her, I guess.
Yeah. Your bond must be next level.
Yeah. So I was like, I didn't want to go anywhere if he wasn't with her, even to Europe on holidays and things. I was like, no, I'm going to take her and we're going to go. And yeah, like it was, no. Wow. And he was like, don't you want to just, spend some time on your own with friends? No.
She was even saying that to you. Like,
yeah,
Mum, get out of my face.
Yeah, well, Eve, that's why I went on the show as well. And Eve would be like, no, go out with your friends. And, I'd say, like, that's how the whole boyfriend thing started. And she'll be like, oh, Mummy, I think, you need to find yourself a boyfriend. I was like,
wow.
You need to go out and find a boyfriend. I said, but I do go out, I do go. She goes, yeah, but you're not going to find a boyfriend going out and having dinners with your girlfriends, with girls. Wow. You have to find a boy. And I was like, no, I don't need a boyfriend.
Her and your sister made you audition for the show, right?
Yeah.
And so what did you have to do for that? Do you have to do like a piece to camera saying?
No, I didn't. No. Nothing like, send in photos, obviously.
Right.
So, and it was a huge questionnaire, huge. And I obviously wasn't serious about kind of getting on or anything like that. I was just doing it because Eve was like, Mummy, you have to find a boy. Because she tried to sign me up to online dating sites and everything. I'd catch her doing that. I was like, no, I'm shutting this down.
I'm going to find a man a more traditional way.
Yeah,
I'll go on the TV.
I'll go on TV with another 20 girls, the traditional way. But yeah, so I was like, okay, all right, I'm going to fill this form out, but then both of you zip it. I don't want to hear about it again, and that's it. So that was just a way to basically shut them both up.
Right.
There was no, I didn't think, oh my God, I'm going to go on The Bachelor. It was just like, I got to do this to shut them up.
Right.
So we did the form, and like there was questions like, what are you passionate about? And I was like, waffle with cheese. Like these were my answers. I'm passionate about a waffle with cheese. This is my passion. And yeah, sure enough, I don't know if they found what I had written down funny or like it was just real. It was just me. I wasn't trying to impress anybody or anything like that. And yeah, they called me up and then they're like, we'd like to see you for a, actual audition. We're having them in Perth in like a few days, like you to be there. And
what was it? Did you go to an audition room and there were a heap of other girls?
Yeah, it was a group audition with all the other girls. And you know how they get you to stand up and do things?
No.
Like they ask you questions, okay, so what would you do in this situation and what would you do in that situation? So you kind of have to,
oh my God, that's so fun.
Look at the person next to you, give them a compliment, the person on the other side, tell them something that you don't like about them. Like, so you had to kind of do that.
God.
Yeah.
So you had to tell someone in the audition, I don't like this about
you. Yeah. Like they give you a bit of time to like, chat or, and they were like,
did any of the other girls from Perth make it through?
No, none of the other girls did.
Because I wonder in the other states if the other girls that made it in, they would have been like, oh yeah, I saw you in audition. Sorry, I do actually like your hair.
There was a lot of that when we got to the hotel where everybody was kind of signing in. Right. Like they'd be like, oh, I saw you at audition, I saw you at audition. So they kind of saw each other there and kind of knew each other a bit, but I was just...
Wow.
Yeah.